Hey guys, Alisha here with Terradrift, your travel and outdoor adventure guides. And if you've been following us for any length of time, you know we love outdoor gear. It's a bit of an obsession, really. But that obsession has led us to discover one of the coolest new products on the market for camping, the Tensile tree tent. It's a tent, it's a hammock, it's both. And it's the best of both worlds. And I speak with absolutely zero hyperbole when I say that this is the absolute most fun piece of gear we have taken camping in a very long time. I mean, I actually can't wait to set up camp when taking this thing out. Why? Just look at it. That thing is cool. This specific model is the Tentsile Connect two-person tree tent. It's one of the more spacious of Tensile's two-person models. I mean, just look at all the space and details here. It has two under hammock storage nets for backpacks or shoes or extra camping stuff, plus 6 pockets, 3 on each side, on this very handy divider here, plus a detachable pocket that hangs at the top, and a slide-in pocket and zipper pocket down here by your feet, and more pockets on the sides. You will not run out of room to store your stuff in this bad boy. But my favorite thing about this tree tent isn't the pockets, it's the space. See, in our backpacking tent, that also happens to be our camping tent right this moment, it's a bit cramped with both Josh and me inside. We can't move around a lot, you know, we're pretty close together, it's kind of tight. But in the Tensile, we can sit upright, move around, play games, spread out. There's so much space. I love it. You can even unzip all 4 sides of the mesh for a totally open, more hammock-like experience, which is magic for just lounging with a book on lazy afternoons at the campground. Perfect. And if you're worried about how much weight it can handle, don't be. This one is rated for over 800 pounds, which is equal to about 5 or 6 of Josh and I. And in case you're wondering, which I'm sure you are, yes, it's super comfy. It's basically the perfect balance between sleeping in a tent and sleeping in a hammock. Personally, Josh and I love camping hammocks, but sleeping in them does require a bit of a learning curve. And some folks just don't like having no space to move around or would prefer to sleep next to someone instead of hanging from the next tree over. And when it comes to tents, some folks find sleeping in a tent on the ground uncomfortable or hard on their shoulders or back or hips. But this is the best of both worlds. You get to sleep next to a buddy, have some space to relax, move around, play cards, you name it, and you still get to sleep comfortably off the ground in a hammock-esque structure that gives just enough under your weight not to create any pressure points, without having to learn how to sleep in a hammock so you don't end up curled up like a banana. Speaking of comfort, we did find ourselves occasionally sleeping with our inflatable sleeping pads some nights. See, cold butt syndrome is real. And just like sleeping in a regular hammock, the cool night air blows under the tree tent and sucks your body heat right out of you. It's called convective heat loss. And on warm summer nights, it's no problem at all. But in cooler temperatures, you might want to opt for a sleeping pad or figure out how to fashion a triangular underquilt to keep you warm. But Tensile did just release their very own sleeping pad together with sleeping pad manufacturer Climate, and the sleeping pad has a no-slip base, it's insulated, and the corners are cut off, so more than one sleeping pad fits together perfectly in a 2 or 3 person tree tent. It's still super comfy without sleeping pads though, but it is a little bouncy. So be aware that if your partner moves around a lot at night or has to get up and go to the bathroom, if you're not a really heavy sleeper, you're probably gonna feel it. Honestly, it didn't bother me that much though, and I don't feel like I woke up to Josh moving around any more than I did in a tent. And I feel like I tossed and turned a lot less than I do in a tent, which is great for Josh. As for setting it up, there are videos on Tensile's website that offer tips and tricks and tutorials, so we won't go through all of it in great detail, but suffice it to say that it's not as time-consuming or as difficult as it looks. In fact, when I looked at the directions the first time and they said the setup would take 10 minutes, I was like, no way does this only take 10 minutes. But lo and behold, our very first time setting it up, it really did just take 10 minutes. You just place the protective straps around your 3 correctly spaced trees. We like chest height, but that will depend on whether your trees are level and how tall you are, of course. Then loop the straps around. Thread them through the ratchets, then tighten. And we mean really tighten them. Keep ratcheting until you cannot ratchet anymore, or the tensile will sag and you'll roll into each other in the middle of the night. Ask us how we know. Then just slide the 2 tent poles into place, throw over the rain fly if you're expecting inclement weather, stake it out, and you're good to go. And speaking of the rain fly, it definitely does its job. After a whole night of thunderstorms and pouring rain one evening, no part of the tent structure was even damp in the morning. And we hadn't even put on the water gates that are meant to keep the rain from soaking the straps and then seeping and dripping down to the corners of the tent. So bravo, Tensile. We were indeed cozy and dry the whole night, and not at all worried about getting flooded out like we might have been if we were sleeping in a tent. The only issue we ran into, and we only ran into it once, to be fair, we were attempting to set it up in the dark, is finding 3 correctly spaced trees. Tensile offers tips on their website for what to do if trees are too far away or too close together, but the trees do have to form a pretty specifically shaped triangle. So this probably won't be the best option for those of you planning camping trips in, I don't know, Utah or some other desert region that has few to no large healthy trees. However, Tensile does sell conversion kits for many of the models, so you can actually switch it up and pitch it on the ground if you have to, which is super cool. But for everybody else, it's definitely a winner. It's not for backpacking though. The Connect comes in its own duffel bag, so it's not small and it is certainly not light. In fact, this one weighs over 20 pounds, which I personally wouldn't carry for more than about half a mile. And that's only if we were staying at the same campsite for several nights in a row, but that's your call. But for everything else, it's pretty spectacular, and kids love it. At least our nieces and nephews did. So since we're just oversized children ourselves, guess it makes sense that we'd love it too. There are other sizes and more models available, from simpler 2-person tree tents to single models to 3-person hammocks and more. You can even create what Tensile calls stacks and basically space several models out above each other from the same 3 trees for a sort of multi-layered treehouse effect. They even sell ladders and nets and extra accessories and stuff so you can connect them all and create a whole base camp type setup, which is pretty impressive. That said, we totally think the Tentsile Connect is worth owning. It's fun, it's comfortable, it's just cool. I mean, I couldn't help but smile every time I got in it. And it's a great conversation starter. Trust me, you pitch this at a campsite and everybody's gonna wanna know what's happening. And since we know you're wondering about sustainability, yes, Tensile does care about the trees their customers use to set up their tree tents. In fact, they plant not 1, not 10, but 20 trees for every tent and hammock that they sell. They've planted something like over 700,000 already. How dope is that? So if you want to try one out for yourself, we'll put a link in the description below, complete with our very own discount code. And if you have any questions about this Tensile that we didn't cover, ask them below. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a big old thumbs up and hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming gear reviews and outdoor adventures. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, plus our website, terradrift.com, for even more dope photos, gear reviews, and outdoor adventures. As always, thanks for watching, and wander on.